We are officially live. All right, welcome everyone, gods, goddesses, and emissaries of light. This is Dr. Tyann, and I have my guest speaker, the anarchist. And some of you are familiar with him on the channel before. And for those of you that are not, anarchist conscious, and he talks about things on in I would call the middle. And so I want to what the topic is today. We're going to be talking about past lives, but anarchist pretty much has whatever comes out is what we're going to be talking about in addition to. But I want to explain about past lives and how past lives really aren't past lives, they're current lives. Because time on the earth is linear, but outside the earth, there is no time. So we are multi-dimensional beings. Things are happening at the same time simultaneously. So although we are here, fragments of our souls are other in the universe. And so what got me past lives is my spiritual journey. You have to know where you came from in order to know where you're going. Okay. It just makes sense for you to say, well, I want to, go forward when you don't even know backwards. And so past lives are just a gauge. It's not something used as a crutch or anything like that, because our most important life is our current life that we're living at this. But it does answer why you're here, your reason for being. Those deja vus that you were having are really not deja vus, but those are glitches, tricks that most people don't know about. Your higher self, your soul traps as memory mechanics so you can remember who you are. So when you go in timeline, it looks like a deja vu, but really it is your current life, past life simultaneously crossing. Okay, I am a QA specialist, which is a past life regressionist. What got me into it is I used to listen to Edgar Casey, and I used to listen to him talk about reincarnation, and I came across women who I am certified under, and I was just intrigued talking about the new earth, the three waves of volunteers, and how we are to raise the earth. And so things just started to click for me on my journey. I was like, wait a second. So I was starting to make sense about those deja vus that I used to have, and I still currently have them, and how people are dismissive and the powers want to, I guess, confine us so we don't and so we don't know about our previous lives, because when we move from place of power, that puts us in a power position. And you know, I don't want to say too much because there has been a lot of censorship YouTube on things that you say. So you really just have to make sure that you're walking the line when it comes to these things. But I am on to bring the anarchist on and just to get his take on the matter. Welcome all that are here. Thank you so much.
Okay, so yeah,
You,
when we talk about past lives, again, for those who know me, you know about my platform. I'm not a type of person that just speaks on topics and information without giving people valid things that they can study and research to find out if it's valid, especially when you're in the space of spirituality. Now, everything, I'll just say this, everything you can't concretely say, okay, that is that, because we're dealing with spirituality. Some of the stuff you got to just know. Some of the stuff is very about intuition. But again, there are things that there are just about everything you can research. There's stuff that can back it up. So everything I'm talking about, what I want to do is I want to give people the validation of giving them stuff that they can research. Now, when you talk about past lives, what we really need to get into talking about is reincarnation. And I know that's a big, that's kind of a subject, that's a touchy subject for most people. Some people who are Christians, they don't want to believe in things like reincarnation for whatever reason because of what they taught to believe. But the fact is, during my research and when I studied this stuff, when I was really doing an unbiased study of spirituality and I looked into the topic of reincarnation, I found out that it is a fact that's actually real. We all have been reincarnating multiple times. Some of us millions of times. People don't really understand how old this earth actually is. And a lot of us transcend Earth. We've been in other galaxies, other universes, other multiverses. So, you know, reincarnation is real. The only thing that's really real about you, that's the most real about you, is your spirit. And the fact is, your spirit has been through a reincarnation process. You've been through other bodies. You've been through other lifetimes. And just like Dr. Tyen said, that's why a lot of you, some of y'all have reoccurring dreams, or maybe if you're in a past situation or a past life, and you just thinking that's a dream. You was a whole nother person. You might have been a whole nother gender. You know what I'm saying? But all that is just stuff. I'm not saying every single dream is of you in the past life or whatever, but oftentimes if it's a reoccurring dream, that's usually your spirit telling you about, you know, some sort of memory that you have. One thing I need people to understand, um, DNA. DNA is very, very important when we talk about things like past life, when we talk about reincarnation, because what is DNA? DNA is basically your genetic makeup. Is a very simple way to explain DNA is all of your past life and all your memory. People, if you study DNA scientifically, they say you can take one DNA strand, and if you stretch it, it will go all the way out to the moon. So a DNA holds all your memory, your spiritual memory from every single life you've had. That's why you can have one reach to the moon, one DNA strand. That's all of your memory. So it may not come up in conscious life, although it can, just like Dr. Tyen said, it can come up in deja vu. It can come up with you daydreaming, but oftentimes they come out when you're asleep, because when you're asleep, your conscious mind, your brain is asleep, but your subconscious mind is wide awake. So they sending you images, they sending you messages, they sending you stuff about things that you may or may not have experienced through past lives. So again, when we talk about past lives, you need to really get into the information of reincarnation. And one of the things I suggest people who are interested in the subject you need to study is something called the Nag Hammadi Library. That's Naghammadi. I want to say it's either ADI or EDI. Nag Hammadi Library. That's also called the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's also called the Gnostic Gospels. What is the Nag Hammadi Library, anarchists? Some people asking me. And what is Gnosticism? What is the Gnostic Gospels? Not first of all, Gnostic means is actually another word for gnosis, which actually means knowledge. So the Gnostics were people who searched knowledge. We are Gnostics. It wasn't really a specific religion. What people don't understand is Gnosticism is actually pre-Christianity. Again, Gnosticism is pre-Christianity. So when you have Christianity, or at least modern day Christianity, how it was created, these are the building blocks of that. So when I speak of the Nag Hammadi Library or the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Gnostic Gospels, we're talking about a lot of the gospel, a lot of the books that were taken out of the Bible. Remember, the Bible, the books that are in the Bible are books that are, quote, canonized by the Roman Catholic Church, which started with Constantine and a lot of the Greeks. They decided which books were suitable for what we have now today with the King James Bible. It took tons and tons of years. First of all, what you need to understand is the reason why they call Gnosticism pre-Christianity is this was Christianity before Christianity. That would be like me. I'm starting my own religion, right? And I'm just like, okay, I want to start my own religion. I would take something from an existing religion, right? And I would make my own religion. Now, for me to do that, I would have to do this, and if I wanted people to believe it's my religion, I would have to kill those people off. So the proof and evidence that you have of that is a lot of the Catholic Church, when they were really starting to solidify what we know today as the Bible, they had to have the Inquisition, where they killed off the Gnostics. They had to kill those people because the Gnostics were seeing these texts about what people were saying about Jesus in the new Bible, and they were saying, wait a minute, this is our stuff and y'all teaching it wrong. So they're like, okay, we got to get y'all out of here. So you kill off the Gnostics, the people who actually can prove we started this religion and this is our tenets, this is our stuff. You have to kill them off, and then you have to convince people it started with us. So you can look up Gnosticism right now. You'll find a lot of information talking about it's pre-Christianity, but you also find a lot of information talking about Gnosticism is heresy, which is why you need to remember what I told you. The Roman Catholic Church had to kill off Gnostics, and they had to discredit them. Oh, this is not real Christianity, even though you took every single thing that we laid down to make your religion. So again, Gnosticism is pre-Christianity, is where Christianity started. The first books or the first things written about Jesus is in Gnosticism. That's how you know this is Christianity, pre-Christianity. The first Christians were Gnostic Christians, and they didn't really call themselves Gnostics. This is a later day term. But so again, if you want to look up Gnostic books that were taken out of the Bible, you want to look up books like the Book of Thomas. That was one of the very first books that was founded in 1945 by a little boy. He was just playing around somewhere in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, which is why they call it the Nag Hammadi Library. Again, Egypt. We're taking it back to where civilization pretty much first started, the ones that we know of at least. Boy was playing around, found some books, and he found what we call today the Nag Hammadi Library. We also call it the Dead Sea Scrolls. We also call it the Gnostic Gospels. He found these books. The first one that they released was called the Book of Thomas. You also have the Book of Judas, telling you about Judas's story. You also have the Book of Philip, the Book of Mary Magdalene, a bunch of different books. I think they have a bunch of different books. I can't name them all. It's like 52 books in the Gnostic Gospels of the Nag Hammadi Library. Those books talk about things for which they took out of the Bible. Now, you can actually look in the Bible and still find things that allude to reincarnation, about you having different bodies, about one of the reasons why you have different memories. But these really solidify and validate things like reincarnation. Like I said, the reason why I went into this little rant is because there are a lot of Christians who don't want to believe because of what they've been taught to believe. They want to believe things like reincarnation, but this is real. You find this in each and every single religion. Of course, it's more predominant in the Eastern religions, like the Hindu religion, the Buddhist religion. They talk about karma, they talk about reincarnation and all that. But when you study, you need to study all of the religions. I don't care which one you're a part of, study all of them. You know why? Because what you find is you find similarities. Things that they talk about in the Quran, they talk about in the Bible. And the pre and the new, the modern Bible. So in Gnosticism and Christianity. Things they talk about in Hinduism, in the Rig Veda, which is, Eastern religious philosophy. You find that there is a tie to everything. A lot of these things are saying different things, but really the same thing if you understand how to research, especially religious texts. So again, you find evidence about reincarnation in, I believe when I was researching it, you can find it in Ecclesiastes, whatever that one is. I forget the name, but there's something that alludes to us having memory and stuff like that. I wish I would have, brought it up so I could share it. But there's different stuff in the new Bible, in our modern Bible, that talks about past lives, reincarnation. Now, again, so that's what I want you guys to understand, that the research aspect of it. If you want to research it yourself, you want to research the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Nag Hammadi Library, and you want to research Gnosticism. It's very important. That's something, the reason why most of you are just learning about this today is that's something that the elites and the globalists don't want people to know. They learn it for themselves. They understand this aspect of spirituality themselves. But what they want you to learn is all the mainstream religious concepts. Oh, follow this, follow that, don't do this. So again, that's going to be your foundation. Is anarchist? Is this crazy stuff? No. Like I said, this is religious. This is pre-Christian text. All right, what they used to talk about all the time, and now we're just finding out because all of this information has been hidden from us. Now, Dr. Tanya, did you have any more questions on reincarnation or past lives?
I just want to add to it. When I first awakened, I feel like all of us have been falling asleep and awakening throughout our whole lifetime. But when I really awakened to my spiritual journey, it was Hinduism, and I've studied many religions, Muslim, Christianity, everything but Mormon. I did read some of the Mormon books, but I'm gonna be honest, I didn't study it. I just read it because I was intrigued. I found out that those were the 3 Abrahamic religions, and kind of like as a spin-off of it, like the Pentecostal and everything like that. So I agree with you when you said to study all religions, because they all lead back to one, and that is the reason why we are here. They just have their different perspective of why and where we go in the afterlife. One thing that about Hinduism, and I don't want to say I practice it because I really don't practice. I just apply knowledge and wisdom from it. But I can identify with it is the fact that they believe that before you become a incarnate on the earth as a human, you have to go through 1 million incarnations, and you start with the mineral kingdom. So you start off as grass, work your way up into the animal kingdom, and then you start off as a cow or a bird. You work your ways up to the trees, and then you work your way up into the heavens, and finally after these 1 million incarnations, the three gods, which is Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, will grant you nations. And a lot of us do not know when we come into these areas, we come in with our guardian angels. We are being brought in. We don't come ourselves. That's why I personally don't believe in lost souls. Okay. A whole nother topic of discussion. But anyway, I heavily believe in reincarnation. And Jesus taught reincarnation. Miss it all the time. But there is a story in the Bible. There was a man that was blind, and his disciples asked him, "Teacher, was it of a sin that he did in a previous life, or was it his parents?" And he was like, "Okay." And so I am beginning to believe if his disciples, which are ones that were taught up under him as him being right, if they believed in incarnation, or if they didn't believe in incarnation, they have asked, or why would they have proposed a question like that? Obviously, they had to have been taught by Jesus about reincarnation in order for them to speak past lives. So it's even evident in people or Bible of reincarnation. But again, you put the truth in sight and people won't see it. People are taught and trained to question. Just believe, just have blind faith. Believe what I tell your leader, be sheeple, and you'll go to heaven. You'll be okay. So yeah, this is very real. I'm in 100% congruency with you when you talk about Kamandi, because that's one of the books that I read when I left organized religion. I read a variety of books. The Egyptian book of going forward, which is known as dead. A lot of these ancient texts they outdate the Bible. Back before the Bible was even written. The Bible was only 2,000 years old, and the Gita is 15,000 years old. And so you're very talk about the earth. The earth is ancient. It's millions, or even probably even trillions old. And we too are ancient. We're old souls, many of us. We also have new souls too. That's why we're here to teach. We're not here to teach those that have been here since the beginning of time, since the beginning of Atlantis and Lemuria. We're here to teach young ones that are coming. So that's what I want to add.
Okay, all right. Nice, nice. And so, all right, where I want to go to next, now that we kind of got a foundation about, past lives, obviously you're talking about past lives, we're talking about reincarnation. Again, if people, like I said, I suggest people don't ever believe anything I say at face value. Research. That's why I give out resources. If you're not going to at least look into the Nag Hammadi library, at least look into the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Gnostic Gospels and all that. Again, that's what, if you are a true Christian, that's what you want to do, because even though they try to discredit it as heresy, the modern day church try to discredit the Gnostic Gospels as heresy, they cannot deny all that Jesus spoke in those Gospels. When you read them, you see Jesus said, and they can't deny that. They can only say, "Oh, that's heresy." They believe one way, and they'll actually throw out a lot of lies if you just Google this stuff. That's why I say read the actual text. You do have to read things like the Gospels, the Book of Coming Forth by Day, which is of course the Book of the Dead, the Egyptian text. Of course, the Rig Veda. A lot of the Eastern texts still have a lot of that stuff in it. But what I want to go into next is I want to dispel a couple myths about things like past lives and reincarnation and things like that. Now, one thing I see in the so-called spiritual community, again, some of these things I can't co-sign everything, because just like how a lot of the Christian texts, a lot of the Bible and stuff like that got degenerated down the line, and now it just, like you said, turned into, oh, just believe this or you're going to go to hell, believe this or bad stuff going to happen to you, which is a mind control program. The elites since Roman days, and even before that, since Greek days, have understood how to mind control. That's why they say believe when the Gnostics say no. There's a difference between what I believe and what I know. There's a huge difference. And I wanted to give this example. When I was young, it was me growing up with my sister, my younger sister. She's about a year and a half younger than me. She's always been younger than me. And I remember when we were kids, I could just tell her things and she would believe it. Whenever I wanted her to do something or not going to some place, I'd be like, don't go in there. It's monsters in there. She'd be like, oh, snap, it's monsters in there? Because she believed it. She just believed what I told her. But at some point, she got old enough to just not believe. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to look in there myself. Ain't no monsters. So there's a difference between what you believe and what you know. They treat a lot of Christians like children, and y'all act like children. Whenever we giving y'all this new knowledge, y'all just like, la, 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 la. I don't want to hear this. I just want to know. I just want to continue to believe what I believe. That's why the Gnostics were Gnostics. They were about knowledge, knowing. You want to know something. You don't just want to believe it. All right. A lot of people believe that some of these shots they getting is going to save them. They don't know what's in them. They don't know what's going to happen to them. They just believe that the government has their best interest. So that's the difference between wanting to believe and wanting to know. Now, get into some of the myths I want to dispel, because a lot of people in these spiritual movements, they glorify everything without understanding this stuff. Oh, reincarnation is so beautiful. We want to reincarnate and hopefully I come back as a butterfly. For one, you're not coming back as no butterfly. Like Dr. Cheyenne just told you, you evolve. You don't devolve. All right. Hopefully in my next life I can come back as a bead of grass. That's not going to happen. All right. You are thinking conscious human being, which we are one of the most developed species. We're one of the most messed up species, but we're the most developed, you know what I'm saying, one of. So again, you're not going to go back. You're going to go forward for the most part. And we can get into stuff like that. I know if you actually have a pet that you love, you can come back and reincarnate as a pet, but that's a different thing. That kind of gets into spiritual science. I don't want to confuse people. But one thing I will say is, reincarnation, if you do study the Gnostic Gospels, if you study things about Gnosticism, they have a interesting take on reincarnation. And their take is it is not a good thing to reincarnate. When you reincarnate, you're just being recycled again and again and again. Yeah. On Earth, every single thing you do involves energy. Me talking is energy. That's why sometimes I'll talk for 4 and 5 hours and be drained from talking. You working, every time you do work, you're expelling energy. That energy is going towards whatever corporation, making them millions. But every single thing on the earth we need to see as energy. When you come to this earth, all you do is give energy. All right? That's why most people, I don't care if you are a bum on the street or you Michael Jackson with, perceive the best life ever, we all have to go through suffering down here because there are entities that feed off that suffering. Okay, that's what the Gnostics talk about. I'm getting into Gnostic texts. So when you die as a person, you will have the option to basically go into the astral light or the astral plane. Of course, people know about astral travel in the astral world. Again, you can do these things. You can astral travel tonight. You research it and you on your stuff, you get on your meditation, you can astral travel and see these astral worlds for yourself. Read books. A good book is called How to Astral Travel. That's by Gavin and Yvonne Frost. Gavin Frost. You can read a good book. He teaches you how to astral travel. He, in the book, talks about, in the second half of the book, it's fire. First half of the book is cool, but the second half is fire. They teach you what you're going to see in the astral realms, how to do it. The fact that, you can't cut the astral cord that you have. You cannot do that. There's books been written on people trying to cut the astral cord. You cut that cord, you're done. But you can't do it. That means you're dead. So again, you can astral travel, but when you die, you either go to the astral realm where you sit and stay for however many long. Some people stay there just for a little bit. Some people can stay for 50 and 100 years. But if you go to that astral realm when you die, you will come back to Earth and reincarnate. When you die, and like I said, I hope I'm not losing people, but when you die, what you really want to do is you want to transcend this earth. Enriquez, how do I do that? I want to transcend. I don't want to come back here again and do all this pain and suffering over again. How do I transcend? You transcend by getting, hold up, wait a minute, knowledge. What I'm telling you right now, if you can consciously comprehend it and research it and go, oh snap, that's this, that, okay. When you understand your past lives, like I said, I don't want people to just glorify this stuff and just think of it, oh, because again, I've done past life readings, but not just to say, oh, I've been here before doing this, that, and the other, to really understand what my purpose was on this earth. One of the things that a past life reader told me was that I was actually I'm a very old soul, which I'm sure a lot of y'all can tell. That's why I came back and not only study this stuff for myself, but can teach it. She started and told me about how I was a musician in Atlantis. She told me about I was a teacher and musician in Atlantis, and I stayed here basically to try to teach people and all that other stuff, which I can feel. I don't have to, is that right or correct? I'm like, oh snap, they make a lot of sense about myself. That's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm so passionate about people just getting knowledge without any sort of compensation. I don't have to get paid none of this to tell people, because I want people to know. So that made perfect sense. So again, you want to understand your past life to understand why did you come here, and get that whatever you needed and transcend and leave. Otherwise, you just keep doing it over. And the reason why the Gnostics did not like reincarnation is because every time you reincarnate, you come back as a baby. You will notice babies, they know everything. They know everything about their old past life. They just came from the astral realm. So they're like, I know more than you. They're looking at you as a parent like, I know what you don't know. But then they grow up. And they get, they lose what they know as a child. And then they acquiesce to whatever life they in now, and now you have to relearn everything. So imagine being on this planet for millions of years, retaining all this knowledge, and having to start over every single time. Do I have any gamers in the room? Imagine getting to a board, you get to the 77th level, and then you get killed. You got to start right over. You're like, dang, I got to start right over. I got to do all this again to get to this point, and then start right over. That's what you're doing every single time. So again, once you get this knowledge, and you uplift your mind, which is a portion of your spirit, that you're supposed to at some point get to the point where you can transcend, go into another world, go into the afterlife. That's why it's essential for you to study things like the Book of Coming Forth by Day, or the Egyptian text, because it talks about that. It talks about how to die. Not nothing scary. It talks about what you will see in it. They talk about Mayat, way in the soul. One thing that also keeps you here is you just, your human angst. When people die, they're like, oh man, I left my family. I left this person. I left that person. That type of thing snatches you right back to earth.
It does.
Yeah. So I'll let you go, Dr. Tanya. I know I can go for a little while.
Okay. I for what you said, because I'm a channeler and also a psychic, and so I channel the dead for people. And the thing that anchors your dead loved ones the most is your grieving. They can't go. You guys do not understand that you are disabling them to leave, because they are seeing you and they're being attached, and they can't go forth on their journey outside of the earth. And it's real, because so many times I'm in a session and the dead is crying and the living is crying. And I'm like, what the heck? So I'm having to hold space, and it's so draining when that happens, because it pulls from my energy. And so again, you are right. The people that are transcended, we should be happy for them. Death should be a rejoicing. It should be a celebration. We should cry when they come, like you said, when they come back, because that means that they didn't get something right in their previous life, and they have to master it in this lifetime. And so until they have became actualized and realized in their autonomy and have complete sovereignty, that's what Hinduism teaches, is complete sovereignty. That means that you and the divine are one. When people keep on looking for their twin flame or looking for the one, all you're really looking for is your higher self and your God self. Okay, not to say that twin flames don't exist, because I am a twin flame, but I realize that my twin flame, that doesn't complete me. He doesn't complete me. The divine and me being my whole and complete self, that is what completes me. Okay. And then once I reach that point, then I have union within, and then I have union on and without. So again, you're not looking for the one, you're really looking for the other half of you. And it reminds me of that song by Rihanna. I know that it's a song called SOS. That song right there, where she said, I'm lost and I'm looking for the other half of me. The other half of you, it can be in another person, but you have to see it in you first. And that is what it's all about. It's about you becoming your whole, complete self. Once you are whole, then you transcend. Like a lot of people are afraid of life, I mean, death. They want to be here on this earth and they don't want to die. And for those of us that are awakened, we're like, I'm ready. Like, I am ready at any time. But at the same time, we still know that we have more that we have to do. We have more we have to go. But if death meets us tomorrow and it comes knocking at our door, we're like, we mastered it. We've done what we came to do. And when people come to me, when they lose like their children, I've lost a child, a child left before I left, and a mother think that they would outlive their children. But I'm actually happy that my son mastered within 21 years this lifetime. That's like, to me, a blessing. Okay, to be stuck in this matrix until 80 and 90 years of age, that's not a blessing. That means that it's going to take you that long before you master what you came here to do. So, to me, death is a gift. It's not a curse like most people think. And when you become awakened, you'll start to realize that.
The Egyptian, in one of the Egyptian texts I was reading, they said, which a lot of people may have a problem with this, but they said, foolish are the long-lived. I want you to think about that. Foolish are the long-lived. So here in this realm, we go, I want to get to 80, I want to get to 100, I want to get to 120. So you want to get to a point where you can't really enjoy life because you can barely move. I've known old people that can't do nothing but eat and sleep all day. So that's why they have those type of sayings. Foolish is the long-lived. I'm not saying you shouldn't live your life to the fullest to whatever age you die, because whatever age you die is the age you're supposed to die. You make contracts before you come here. All right, you make contracts before you come here. Think of your life as a movie. It's already been scripted out. It's already been in production, pre-production, all that. All you got to do is act it out, watch the movie, and boom, you're done. At the end, there's no surprise. The only surprise is to other people watching the movie. If you made the movie, which you are, it's your life. You made this movie as a spirit. You said, I want to come down here, meet this person, do that, accomplish this, get that done. All right. And of course, it's up for debate whether, because that questions free will. Well, anarchists, are you saying I can't come here and do what I want? I'm saying that you already made that decision before you came here. An actor can't go into the movie and say, okay, now I'm going to take the movie in this direction. The director will be like, hold on, cut. You're not following the script. Why would you do that? And you're supposed to be doing this. You know what I'm saying? It was ordained for you to do this. You already made that decision. So again, it is free will, but it's free will before you got here, before you got to the movie. So I need people to understand that everything you're doing is all in divine purpose. Okay. That's another thing with deja vu. I would see deja vu as like alignments. Oftentimes when I'm having deja vu, I'm like, that's how I understand. Okay, I'm supposed to be where I'm at. Like, then I feel like I was here. That means I'm supposed to be here. But then I feel like I did this before. Okay, that means that's where I'm supposed to be. So, you can look at that as a couple different ways. But so again, just to kind of recap, reincarnation is a real thing. You can find that in a lot of religious texts, most of which have been taken out of the Bible. That's why a lot of people do find a lot of spiritual things in the Eastern religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and all this other stuff. But again, just like Christianity, they teach a lot of myths too. One of them being reincarnation, like is a good thing. It's not a good thing. Oh, if I'm do good, I can come back as this. No, if you come back, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. You want to transcend. You don't want to be here suffering. Because as I was going to state before, everybody suffers here. Everybody. Nobody is not suffering. Again, I'll make the example. Michael Jackson was basically a billionaire, was the most loved, one of the most loved people, one of the most known people in the world. But look at what he did to himself, to his own face. We all have insecurities because we are human beings. You ever heard, I'm only human. I'm only human. Again, if you see yourself as a human being, you have to understand that you are a flawed individual, that you're an individual who's going to go through pain and suffering, because that's the order down here. But once you that's why the Egyptians say foolish are the long lived, because if you honestly believe that this life and this reality is the best that you have to offer, that's literally like somebody being in hell. Like, what's better than this? It's because you don't know no better.
Right.
You somewhere where you don't know better, but if you understood better, you understand, okay, I can transcend to a place where there is no pain, there is no suffering. A good movie that me and my queen just seen the other day was a movie called Soul. We didn't finish the movie, but I thought it was very, very interesting, that movie Soul, because if you notice in that movie Soul, which I believe it was starring Jamie Foxx, it was like an animation or whatever. He was trying to get he died and basically went to the astral realm, basically, and was trying to get back into his body, trying to get back to the world, because he had a gig that he died just before, so he had something that was calling him back. But when he was there, he met a spirit who absolutely did not want to go back to their body. And I'm giving away a little bit of the movie. They absolutely did not want to go back into a human body. And when they did, they were like, oh, I can, all this flesh, all this, you know what I'm saying? They didn't like it. That's literally how spirits feel, even in the astral realm, because there's way less pain and suffering in the astral realm, but it's still a place you don't want to be. The astral realm. I would say transcend this realm and get to the astral realm, because that helps most people to understand, like, oh, okay, there is life after death. I can perceive things and understand that I'm a spiritual being, even when I transcend this body. But again, that's just lockdown number 2. Whereas in this reality, you in maximum security, that's minimum. You know what I'm saying? Prison. You know, so you want to transcend all of those realms until you get into a space where you are the one. You understand? So again, reincarnation being taught in Hinduism as a virtue, it's not a virtue. They teach that the same way they teach. You know what else I'm somewhat against is the whole notion of karma. The whole notion of karma. They teach that in Hinduism, just like they teach sin in Christianity.
Yeah.
People need to understand, the Bible were made for new people that got onto the earth, because there is no way as a human being that you need to really be taught how to be a good human being. If you're one of the original people, that's something you know. The real Bible is inside of you. That's why when you get into spiritual circles, they say, hey, go inside, go into meditation. Because there's no way a book is about to sit up here and tell me, oh, I need to be good. I need to not enslave people. I need to not torture people. I need to not do all this bad stuff. That was made for a later day people who did not understand what the things that the original people on this earth understood, through what God's people understood. There were later day people who came and they didn't understand how to be human beings. And so that's why the Gnostics had to make these different books on how to be virtuous. And the Egyptians had to make these different books on how to die, because we kept evolving as human beings. Earth actually started off with people who were 4th and 5th dimensional beings. Yes. And then the vibrational vibration just got lower and lower and lower.
And we didn't have language as we have now. We spoke to each other telepathically.
Exactly.
We're actually going back to that.
Exactly. Yeah. We have, if you study a lot of the Rig Veda and a lot of different Eastern texts, they have what's called what do you call those? Like the different, what is these things called? The different ages, I guess we call them now. Bronze Age, this age. We leave in the lowest age and we get into in Christianity, we call that not even Christianity, but the Aquarian age.
Right.
Going into the Aquarian age, where people are looking for knowledge, people are getting more into spirituality, people want to know more about real things about Christianity. We live in the Piscean age, where it's just belief. All you had to do was believe. And again, the elites know this. That's how they knew that we can control the world population with religion. You know what I'm saying? We can control the world with religion, because this is the belief age. Now they're really trying to control people with the new age and spirituality movements, because they understand this is an age that people are going to be looking for knowledge. So they putting all their BS in the spiritual stuff. So again, reincarnating and getting to another life is not a virtue. That just means you got to start the game over. And you may get into again, an analogy for my gamers. You got to the 80th board and then you had to start over. And then next time you may not get to the 80th board. This life, you could get to the 50th board. You won't even get as high as you did the last life. That's why it's essential for you to get as much knowledge and leave this place, so you can see the benefits of not being here. Again, I'm not saying, because again, I got to say this for stupid people who's sitting here like, well, maybe I should just kill myself then. You're coming back. Straight up, you're coming back. Coming back. And you just are so pained that you just had to just leave here. They're like, no, you get back there because you didn't get what you needed. You was just a coward. All right. You have to really transcend. You have to just, again, live out this story and wait for your time and then transcend and then don't come back. Understand that. Let's just be honest. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This is a matrix. People don't understand. People really don't understand what that means. People don't understand what that means. Go back and watch the movie The Matrix. Because this is what I don't like. Oh man, get out of the matrix and get into cryptocurrency. Get out of the matrix and get into this regular life stuff that I'm into. What? That don't even make no sense. In the movie The Matrix, when Neo was in the Matrix, he realized that world wasn't real.
Yeah.
It was not real. I just told y'all, I first got on here and told y'all the only thing real about y'all is your spirit. You are in a game. Again, science is starting to catch up to a modern science. It's starting to catch up to we're calling it a simulation. You're in a movie. This is a game. These people aren't real. Their spirit is real, and you can get some other stuff. Some people aren't real at all. We have counterfeit spirits.
Yeah,
but exactly. Mm-hmm. But the people who you interact with, they are you. You looking into yourself. This is a world that you created. It's not real. It feels real, just like you're going to get into a dream. You wake up from your dream. Oh my God, it felt so real. That's the reality you in. The reality that just feels so real. Anarchist, how can you say that? I'm touching myself. I feel real. This is all real. No, you don't. You won't understand it until you transcend. Like, oh snap, none of that was really real. That's why all this angst brings you back. And people, the spirits above you is looking like, why would he do that? Why is he going back to the movie? Why is he going back to playing the game? It's because you didn't get what you needed, which I'm telling y'all, again, this is stuff I can tell people this all day, but they won't really understand it until they walk their own journey, walk their own paths. All right. But just said plainly, which a lot of people have said before me, tons of people, I bet you this is what Jesus was teaching before they retarded his teachings, before they degraded his teachings, letting people know, like, no, you want to go into the kingdom. The kingdom is the virtue, not here. So again, and then people, so that's what I want to really let people know, that you are in a matrix. That is why, and I need people to really listen to what I'm about to say. That is why, because a lot of people believe in this, but they don't know why they believe in it. That's why manifestation is a thing. That's why manifesting is real. Otherwise, then that's some BS. Otherwise, me sitting, meditating, and thinking about some stuff and attracting things to my reality is not a real thing. If this is a concrete place where you just, you get up, you go to work, and you do things, and no, manifestation is real. Just like, again, you can make a movie and have whatever in your movie that you want to have. You can have whatever you want to have. You can manifest based on your mind, which is an aspect of your spirit. Once you program yourself to believe, this is actually what I deserve. This is what I'm supposed to have. That's why people who are wealthy, you notice that they are of a certain mindset. You don't really have a whole bunch of people that's millionaires and billionaires with a poverty mindset. They're usually go-getters. They have programmed themselves in a way to say that, oh yeah, I'm supposed to have these millions of dollars. Why? However, whatever way they mind, they program themselves, because I did this, I'm hardworking, I get up every day. However they program themselves. There's people that's millionaires that didn't do nothing. They hit the lottery. They're like, I did what I did.
Or they were born.
Exactly. So, it's all the way about you programming. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people are insecure, because the elites, the globalists, they make you that way. They understand if we can make people believe that you nothing, you're not a spirit, you just a worthless human being, go to your job, do this, be submissive, believe in this, you know what I'm saying? They don't want you to have to empower yourself. They don't want you to believe that you are powerful and you can create what you want, because they might be out of here after that. So again, I want to really get people to understand that what we in is a matrix. Is it all bad? No. You can come here and learn things, because again, when you transcend this and you become one with God, one with the universe, one with the creator, and realize that consciousness is your consciousness. I explain this all the time. This is a bottle of water. If think of the container of this water as your body, but the water is actually your spirit. If I pour this water, which seems like, it's the spirit in the body, I pour it in the ocean, which represents the one, the God, I won't be able to tell the difference between what was in this bottle and what was in that ocean. So you are one with God. You understand? That's what you are.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want to, no, I'm me and that's God. I'm supposed to worship God. No, I'm supposed to worship nothing. You want to worship yourself? Do it then. I would recommend that. Worship yourself.
Can I say something, Marcus? This is a good segue based off of what you said. The reason why I'm no longer a part of organized religion is for that very simple fact that I'm not trying to get put back on that reincarnation wheel. For those that are worshiping, you are giving away your energy to the lesser gods, the demigods, and that's a whole other subject. But anyway, I just felt like it would, you know, complement what you are talking about with Inky and Elil, which is the creators of this earth. Okay, the matrix that we created. We all were a part of this. And when you begin to understand where the origins of human or mankind came from, then you'll begin to understand who you are and why most people in a conscious community call themselves gods and goddesses, because what is true of God is true of you. How can you just be a human when you were created by God? And if that's the case, we're all demigods if you look at it that way, because we wouldn't even exist. Like you said, we are all divine sparks. We are one, a part of the same ocean, the same super consciousness. We cannot separate ourselves from God. So when you're looking for a God outside of yourself and you feel lost, you're going to continue to feel lost because God is not out there. God is inside you, around you, everywhere. Okay. So if you're just looking in one place, you're divided from God and you're missing the mark, which is what sin really means. Missing the mark, sin means that you are out of alignment with God. The same with karma. People look at karma as something bad. You touched on that just a little bit earlier. Karma is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It is a good thing to have karma because you can clear out those timelines and you can master yourself a lot faster. Just case in point, I'm going to put myself on the line. Dolores Cannon talks about those that come in a handicapped body, why they choose. My soul is an ancient soul and so intelligent that it knew that if I came in a handicapped body, that I can clear out my karma faster. Well, who knew that I chose on the other side of the veil before I came into this incarnation to come into a handicapped body? But as a child, it plagued me because kids would stare at me, they would make fun, they would poke fun at me. Even adults stare at me still now, but they just don't know I got it made in the shade, baby, because after this is my last lifetime. I'm mastering this. Okay. And my soul pulled me to this journey, and it's just a good thing because I have cleared out a lot of my karma, and a lot of us have cleared out a lot of our karma. And I've heard people say, "Well, I don't have any karma." Then what you think you here for? If you thought you came in with no karma, there was no sense of you coming here if you didn't come in with no karma, baby. Okay, unless you are an ascended master, and many of us are, and I really believe, Anarchist, you are. I believe that I am. I believe a lot of us have ascended, and we're like, you know what? I want to go back and I want to help others because I've already mastered what I needed to master. And so, in this lifetime, for those that know much is required. Like you said, we are teachers. We don't care if we get paid for it or not. This is our rhyme and reasons for being. The Most High is going to take care of us. We're not going to starve. Okay, we're going to have a lifestyle that we're comfortable with. We're going to have, everything that we need because that's the way that we set this whole thing up. Like you said, those that are movie stars, those that are the elite, those that are millionaires, they don't worry about how they're going to make money. Look at Donald Trump, a billionaire who filed bankruptcy 3 times. How the hell do you lose billions and billions of dollars and get it back and get it and lose it again? The fact that I had read in one of my millionaire conscious groups, the fact that you have money is not what makes you a millionaire. What makes you a millionaire is that you can lose it all and you can gain it all back again because you already have that mindset. You already have that money consciousness to get it back. That's what makes you rich. It's not the money that makes people billionaires or millionaires. It's their mindset and their consciousness. And like you said, we are not humans having a spirit experience. We are spirits having a human experience. And when you begin to know that and you transcend, you take your consciousness with you. So what you are amassing is not really material things. What you are supposed to amass is knowledge, because that's the only thing that you can take out of here.
Hmm. Hmm. And just to piggyback off of what you said, all my Christians in the room, listen up. I'm giving y'all some homework to do, because again, I give people active information to search for themselves. What y'all speaking is the devil. Listen to this. Go into your Bibles, and I need y'all to look up. Go to John. Go to the book of John. John chapter 10, verse 34. I want to say it's verse 34. John chapter 10, 34. And Jesus said, "You are gods." You ain't hear that in church. I want to bet you went your whole life every Sunday to church. You never heard that one time. John chapter 10, verse 34, where the disciples, I think in that scenario, Jesus was about to transcend and go back to the kingdom. And they was panicking like, Jesus, what do we do without you? How do we do this? How do we do that? And Jesus said to them, "You are gods." That is one of many verses in the modern. They couldn't take that out. They didn't take it out. They must have just overlooked it, whatever. They just like, oh, don't get that one. They didn't take it out. And those are things that you find in a lot of the Gnostic Gospels, where he just say it straight out. Look, we are all God. We are all one. That's why you get, again, you can. I don't really have problems with Christians, especially people who are Gnostic Christians, knowledge Christians, who actually go into their religion and try to study it. I don't have a problem with people who are in the quote unquote New Age movement, the spiritual movement, because again, you find out that all this stuff is saying the same thing like a synonym. You know what I'm saying? Is we are one. When you get into the spiritual groups, we are one, brother. We are one, sister. Don't even know what that means. Just saying it all day. Just like Christians don't know what they're talking about, just saying stuff. We all saying the same thing. God is just really a word. Where did the word God come from? That's actually a German term, God.
Yeah.
So again, it's not even, again, we degrade and retard a lot of this stuff because we using English. That's why I say a lot of this stuff can't just be, oh, now I research this, now I know it all. You have to do research, and a lot of that research have to coincide with your intuition, what you know inside. That's why I always push in just about every video, meditation. Once you get into knowledge, then you need to get into and meditate on that knowledge. Meditate on what you just learned, because what you're going to find is this is something that you already knew. Again, if you've been reincarnated here millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of years, that's something that you came across before. And all you need was the trigger to then go, the conscious trigger to send to the subconscious to now get some information. All right. And go, oh, snap. That's why some people just can't get it. They can't. They either brand new spirits who need to be here for another couple millions of years, if that, or, like I said, they just not supposed to, they counterfeit spirit. They just not real at all. So they ain't going to get it. To those people, I hand them the book. Because again, if you don't got that dang Bible, you're going to do something very, very horrific. There's some people who need that book. You just brand new. You only exist here. You don't transcend. That's why you holding on. You holding on so bad. No, this has to be real. You know what I'm saying? You holding on because you know you don't exist outside this reality. Straight up. If that's you, then that's you. But if it's something in that, this stuff kind of sounding, it's touching me in a place that I've never really been touched before. You know what I'm saying? Not on no funny stuff. Not on the elite stuff. But it's just touching you in that place that you feel like, okay, I've never been touched here before. This is kind of intriguing. Let me go more into this. But so that's what I want people to get. John chapter 10, verse 34, where Jesus spoke to them and told them, "You are gods." Told him that. Told his disciples that. So that's every single last one of y'all. We are all one. We are all the same thing. I'm going to go back and be the same thing. We broke off so we can have individual experience, grow those spirits, and we're going to bring it all back to the one and make it better. And again, I wanted to piggyback on what you said again about what you call I forget what you called it, but again, why reincarnation is a bad thing. If you study the Gnostic texts, they talk about this world, this reality being set up by what they call the demiurge. Yes. They also call the archons. And I'm about to shock a lot of people here, but the archons, you can look at that information as the zodiac. The 12 zodiac. Now, am I saying don't believe in zodiac stuff? The zodiac stuff is real. But what you need to understand is the zodiac signs, those 12 zodiac signs, were a part of what so again, the Hindus call it Brahma.
Yeah.
The ancient Egyptians called him Ra, but this was the energy in the Gnostic mythology. The great mother, who is the most, basically the most, what you could call the one, basically. Because again, when you go into deep spirituality, you realize that the spiritual realm is a feminine realm.
Yes.
So the greatest, let's say, God or universe or creator is a feminine aspect. This feminine aspect.
They call it feminine aspect. Some refer to it as
Exactly.
which is
Yes.
source.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This being had a son. That son was a flaw. And that son didn't want to not be, or he wanted to live and wanted to just, so this son created this reality. And what helped him was those 12 demiurge, those 12 archons, those 12 zodiac. So now we have zodiacs like, oh, I'm a Taurus. That means I do this and do that and do this. I'm a Scorpio. You giving these personalities by these zodiac signs, when really you're supposed to be the 13. They call, again, this is exactly, this is depicted in Christianity in the scenario where God sits between the 12 disciples. All right, the 12, because those are aspects, again, the Bible, I will always give props to the Bible. The Bible, especially in its original form, is a very, very knowledgeable book. But you need to understand, a lot of it is prophecy, and a lot of it is symbology. So the 12 disciples, which the root word of disciples is discipline. You're supposed to not be one of those 12. I'm not supposed to sit here as Taurus that get angry and stubborn and, all the dark side of Taurus, all the good side of Taurus. I'm supposed to be the Christ energy. I'm supposed to be the 13. I'm supposed to transcend that and realize I'm all of these things because I'm a part of that great mother, which created that son, which created those 12, which created this reality to trap spirits down here in. So it's those 12 zodiac that when you go to the astral world, again, I think in Hinduism and Brahma, they talk about the world being the feet of Brahma and the astral realm being the head of Brahma. So again, that's why I say both of these aspects are not really good things. You want to transcend both. If you in the astral realm, you're in Brahma's mind. If you in the physical reality, you basically his feet. So what that's teaching you is obviously you want to transcend it, but those 12 disciples, discipline, what the Gnostics teach is they created this realm in order to trap us spirits down in here. That's why we get here and don't know nothing. You get here, you don't know nothing. Because they want you here, stay here, die, and come back here. Because we give them energy instead of giving ourselves energy.
That's right. And I want to add what worship does. When you worship, you basically are getting your energy harnessed by the demiurge, by these gods, because they are using your light. They're using your light so they can remain as gods. The whole point is we are all evolving. Even Source Creator is evolving. And the more we evolve, the more that God can move and exist and have his existence in our being and continue to expand and grow as well. It's evolution for all of us, even the one that created us. So I totally agree with what you're saying. And I'm glad that you mentioned Brahma, because Brahma is the creator in Hinduism, the grand creator. Okay, I talked about the three that were up under Brahman, but Brahman is the big head god. And in the Hindu pantheon, there's many different gods that they worship depending on their family. So they worship based off of family history, family, like generation after generation. And as a evolved being such as yourself and myself, our job is to break those generational curses so we don't worship. And so our children and their children generationally can be free of reincarnation and coming back here and have spiritual wealth. That's the whole purpose.
Yeah. And I think a really good resource for what I'm talking about, because again, I hate to go on and on with these concepts without giving people something that they can look at and kind of say, okay, the anarchist, this seems right. Take a look at a documentary called Religulous. That's by what's that dude's name? He took the back and then got it again, got the virus again. What's that? Bill Maher. Bill Maher did a documentary called Religulous. Now, again, I want to preface by saying Bill Maher is an idiot. Bill Maher is an atheist, so that means he don't believe in nothing. He don't believe in nothing. He one of these soulless beings, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But and a racist too. But anyway, he made actually a pretty good documentary called Religulous. But again, don't follow his, because again, he did this documentary to try to give some credence to his atheist beliefs. Right. But what he did inadvertently was showed you that mostly all of the different religions, all of the different pantheons are one and the same. Show you how Heru is similar to Jesus, is similar to Vishnu in the Indian religions. All these things tell the same story. Talk about a virgin birth, talk about this. And I remember walking to the store one time and seeing the dude, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in nothing. And this is when you get into knowledge, you can do this. I'm like, you watched that documentary Religulous, didn't you? Yeah, I did. I'm like, yeah, I know what you believe because I know what you consuming. You know what I'm saying? So again, he made that documentary with the intentions on making people not believe nothing, but inadvertently kind of showed you the different religions, starting from some of the Egyptian religions, about how all these different pantheons and different gods and goddesses, even in Christianity, because you remember, you have these different angels. You have the Archangel Michael, Archangel this person, I believe Elijah in the, I'm sorry, no, yeah, I think dang, who was it? It was either John, I think it was Elijah in the Bible, is actually in Egyptian, Tahuti, is the god Tahuti. So again, you find that, all these, every single, when there was a new culture created, they just took the same script and made it conducive to them. So the Greeks have their own pantheon. The Romans have their own pantheon. You have Isis, or I always forget, Isis in the which is the Greek version of the Greek. You have Isis and Osar, Isis and Osiris, but Isis in Roman is, who is Isis in the Roman? You guys can study this.
I can help you in Greek mythology. She's Aphrodite.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. So you find this in all of them. Starting with Isis, then they have a different form in the Greek mythology. They have a different form in the Roman mythology. You can look at the Babylonian mythology. These are all the same beings. This is why I keep telling y'all, you study one thing, you studying it all. That's why you should just get it all and realize it's all the same thing. And you come into the same conclusion. So we're going to wrap this up. If anybody has any questions, let me know. But again, I want to just, so you guys can come up with your questions right now. I know there's kind of a delay, but in summarizing, again, I want people to always know this, no matter what I'm talking about, because I know it's people that's with it, people that's not with it, people that's like, I like it, I don't like it. Just understand, you are a powerful being. If you can understand what I'm saying, because there's people that they won't get with it. They just can't and they won't. And I understand why. I'm not here trying to wake up all 8 billion of people on the planet, because like I said, some of these people don't exist in reality. That's why they at least want to control, because it's just like, we got to control the dummies and the knowledgeable ones. We got to make the dummies control the people with knowledge by wanting you to be everybody else, wanting you to fit in. But one thing I want people to take away from this and understand is, for one, you as a spirit are a powerful being. You have the power of God within. You can do anything in this matrix. The second thing I want you guys to understand is that this is a matrix, one that you are supposed to transcend. And that's why past lives and reincarnation is real. Again, it's not necessarily a good thing. You are here to learn something, which is the only good thing about it. You're here to build up your spirit. But we were supposed to do that millions of years ago. At this point, we are trapped. We are trapped. We done went to I'm sorry, I'm blanking, but we went to a carnival and we just didn't leave. We just on a ride, just riding. Don't even know why we're here no more, just riding. Oh, look at that, look at that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know why you're here. You're trapped. You got the knowledge.
It reminds me of the movie where they went to the casino and they were eating the lotus flowers. I forget what that movie is called. Oh God, it'll come to me. But anyway, before they knew it, they were like, "We're still here," and years have passed. But I want to ask a question while other people are, thinking about the questions they want to ask. Anarchist, can you tell the audience how they can transcend and not come back here? Like, how do they get off of the reincarnation wheel?
All right, how do you do that? You do it, and I mentioned it before, I'll say it again. You do it by your understanding, your knowledge. That's it. You don't have to do nothing great. You don't have to, because again, to get this knowledge, people in the ancient realms used to go to monasteries. They used to go to climb mountains and get these books and get this and meditate for years and years and years, only to understand that really all you need to do is just understand this in your mind. Everything is in a book. Everything is online, in a podcast, in a video, in a documentary. Just understand what I'm telling you. When you are ready to transcend what we call dying, even though this is the realm of death. This is the realm of death. When you incarnate here or reincarnate, you are dying. The land of the living, look, they mourn you because they're like, damn, this person is dead now. You are in the dead realm. So this is the realm of death. But what we call dying, once you do that, once you transcend, you take this mind. You don't get another mind. You take this one. You may remember what you done before in past lives, but you take what you have acquired with this mind. You're gonna die. You're gonna have this exact mind. Ghosts are people here just in another dimension. Those are the stupid ones. They just like, man, I want to be here so bad. I'm just gonna be here as a ghost now. They're not even smart enough to go to the astral realm. But again, what you need to understand in order to not come back here, in order to transcend into the realm you're supposed to be in, is just understand that. Again, so the Egyptians basically told you. That's why I think people should really read the book of Coming Forth by Day and try to get an understanding, because I know some of it can be not as understanding. You get to whichever goddess that was, and they weigh your heart against
Anubis.
the feather. Yes, Anubis takes you. You're right. Anubis takes you through the dead, and then your heart is weighed against a feather. What does that mean? What are the Egyptians, who are the smartest people on earth? Don't ask me. They built pyramids that we can't build to this day. Yeah. The Chinese tried it. They was like, no, we done. We can't build it. We can't do it. We can't do it. So those are some of the most knowledgeable people that have ever been on this earth. They created this mythology for which everybody else took. Remember, Heru is Jesus. Heru is another form of Jesus. Krishna and all that. Vishnu, all that. So again, what they told you, what that means, weighing your heart against a feather, is how bad do you want to come back here? Like, are you grieving something? Did you not get that job that you wanted? Is your heart heavier than that feather? If it's not heavy, you just like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this reality. I'm trying to get out of here. What's next? But if your heart is heavier, you like, my family, they probably grieving me. My job was real good. I was a millionaire, or I wanted to be a millionaire. That means you are tied and tethered to this life. Yeah, and that's what's going to send you back. You're going to be ate up by whatever that deity is, Apit, and you're going to come back. Being ate by Apit is you going to the astral realm and coming back. So basically what the Egyptians were telling us, what the Kamites were telling us, was that you need to understand and want to transcend this world. I don't want to come back. I want to transition and get out of here. If you feel like that this life was all you had to offer, was the best thing going, you are going to come back. But once you realize, okay, I'm free, what's next? That's the energy that takes you to the next realm. All right. And how do you get there? Knowing this stuff, knowledge, gnosis.
Yes. I also want to mention something too. You spoke about the Gnostics. And most people don't know that Jesus was an Essene, and they even have the book of the Essenes. And pretty much my lifestyle and my diet and my spirituality is based off of that, because a lot of people give veganism a lot of flack, and that's a whole nother topic of discussion. But I'm going to try to condense this. Veganism helps you to move into your crystalline body. Okay, have knowledge of why you're doing the things that you're doing. Don't just do it just because everybody else is doing it. When you do things with intention, that tends to put you in a better place of where you're applying the knowledge that you have, and you're not just doing it just because everybody else is doing it. The reason why I'm doing veganism and drinking pure and everything like that is because I realize that I am not the body, and I also have a soul. I am my soul. Excuse me. Let me cancel that out. I am my soul. I am my spirit. So veganism it feeds that, because if I'm just feeding the physical body, then my spiritual body is dying. So veganism is high vibrational foods. It's food for the gods. Okay, it's foods for those in higher consciousness. For those that are just on a journey, veganism is not for you, because you have not reached that place yet of consciousness to where you can feed your soul what it needs. You need to feed the physical body because you're more carbon. So as you ascend, you move into that crystalline body, which is angelic like body, God like body. And that is also how you don't come back here. Because if you're in a crystalline body, you don't need to come back to the earth, because remember, 666 is those three molecules of neutron, carbon, and nitrogen. You don't need to come back into this lifetime when you're in your crystalline body. So that's the whole purpose of transcending and ascending, is so you can move more into your crystalline body and push that Merkaba out, your Christ light out. And like Anarchist says, I believe in the afterlife, you can go wherever you want to go. Wherever your consciousness is, whether it's heaven or hell. Like me and my kids talked about this last night on the way to dinner. My daughter was like, Mommy, I think it's stupid that people believe in heaven and hell. And I said, well, heaven and hell does exist. And she was like, no, it's not, Mommy. You told us that it doesn't exist. I said, it's a state of consciousness. Okay. You can create your heaven or your hell right now. And when you transcend and you go beyond the other side of the veil, if you are in a consciousness that you're moving into nirvana, then nirvana it will be. But if you're in a consciousness that you are going to go to hell, you are the one to choose where you're going to go, not God. God is not punishing you. If you feel that you've done wrong in the lifetime, then you're going to create your own hell. And when you go there, that's what you're going to come to meet. That's what I believe. I believe that our consciousness creates our reality on the earth or outside the earth.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, that's, even the Bible talks about that being two states of consciousness. It doesn't say it's exactly that way, but that's what it is. And the thing is, again, when you die, think of these different realms as aspects of your mind. What's the first law of the universe that is in Hermeticism? Hermeticism comes from the god Hermes, the Greek god Hermes, which is the Egyptian or Chemite god Tahuti. Tahuti and Hermes are the gods of wisdom. So in the first law of the universe that comes from Hermeticism, which is, you get the law of attraction out of the fifth law, which is the law of cause and effect. I believe that's the fifth law. But the first law is mind is all. Universe is mental. So again, whatever state of mind that you die with is going to be what you experience in the afterlife. Yep. If you felt like, oh, if I do bad things, I'm going to hell, guess what? Guess what? But if you felt like I ain't going no hell, I don't care what I do, then guess what? Because the mind is all, the universe is mental. Karma is mostly what people feel like it is. If you feel like karma is something that you got to come back and something bad going to happen to you, guess what? You are really laying the foundation for what happens to you. That's why what you believe and what you know, you have to really understand this stuff. Because if I've been taught my whole life that if I do bad things and if I pinch little babies and I'm going to hell, and I really believe that, then I'm going to create a hell for myself. Yep. In a lot of these Astral Travel books, what you learn is people who've set out a hell for themselves, they go and live in that reality. Because again, the mind is all. There's nobody. You're going to live in your own mind. You are your mind. So if you carved out a place for you after you die that says, you know what, I have to be punished because I did this, that, and the other, your mind gonna be like, well, damn, all right, there you go. If you feel like, no, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna transcend. I'm gonna go to a realm of butterflies and, we get into more astral realm talk because, again, a lot of these concepts that we can think of, are astral realm concepts. When you truly transcend, you go into a world that's unthinkable. You are the all. So again, a dog's heaven is going to be bones, sniffing booties, and kibbles and bits. Because this is, when he was in this realm, that's what they thought was good. But, a dog's hell might be getting hit with a newspaper every day or whatever they thought of. So again, these are human being concepts. You have to transcend humanity. And again, you won't do that until you're a spirit, but just understand that.
I posted a comment from Dana to you. anarchist.
Okay, Dana's. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
All right, Dana asks, how do you know if you are an ascended master? To be honest with you, long story short, you just know. You just know. I know that's like, dang, you just know. Do you feel that way? And again, like I said, when I did my
Past life.
yeah, when I did my reading, my past life reading, it was actually called, it was an Akashic record reading is what it was. But she went into aspects of my past life, some of them. She told me, she didn't tell me I was an ascended master. She said when you were in Atlantis, you were a teacher. You did music and you were a teacher. Now, in my life today, I make beats. You know, I have an email address, anarchistbeats.com. I didn't need no reading to tell me to make beats. I just started making music because I love music. That's what I just started doing since I was a little kid. So I first heard a song. I'm like, oh, I like that. Yeah, and I like every kind of music except for country. I can't get with most country stuff.
I can't.
But but some stuff is cool. Lil Nas X, he did a little nice little thing, but some of that stuff, you know. But just about every single other music genre I love, especially hip hop and R&B. But I love, because I love music. I love that vibration. That's something I connect with. So again, did I need an Akashic record reading to tell me that I love music? No, but it was helpful for them to tell me, oh, you know, in past life you were one of the biggest, what you could call musicians, but of course they didn't call it that, of that time. So I'm just like, wow, that makes sense. And she told me I was a teacher. So I'm like, oh wow, that makes sense. Because even before I started getting on the internet, going crazy with these spirit, you know, I'm not really going crazy, but you know, just kind of ranting and being eccentric, trying to really get people to understand these concepts. I was doing that to regular people in my life. No, Ma, you don't understand. Just about any, I could teach anything. No, when you put the pinto beans in first, so that's my whole thing. Like I was just had this energy of I just wanted to teach things. I wanted to understand things and then have other people understand it. So does that make me a teacher and ascended master? Yes, because I just had that vibration on me, and what helped was a reading to understand what my past life was for me to go, dang, that makes sense about myself. So, Donna, how do you feel about yourself? Are you always doing that? Are you always teaching people? Do people come to you like, well, you seem to always know? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you that. That's how you know if you are an ascended master. You already kind of living your life towards that. Yeah.
Dana is very psychic. I wanted to say something, anarchist. You mentioned about how you got your information on your past life, and it just clicked. It just started coming to you. I want to let people know that musicians, all musicians, even the ones that are here, all incarnated from Venus. Venus is the planet. Look, I love music so much. Speaking about music, I got it tattooed. All the music signs all over me. And I was just doing some of my doctor work. Like you said, I was studying, and I found out that every musician that is on this planet came from Venus. Venus is known as the love planet, but is not known as the place of music. It is known as a place of music. And so everyone that is in this incarnation, Chris Brown, I don't care who you are, if you are a musician, you came from Venus. And if you notice, most musicians are also what people call hopeless romantics as well. And that's because we all came from the love planet. And I just
you want some more synchronicity? Me and Chris Brown are both Tauruses, which are ruled by who?
Venus.
Ruled by Venus. So, you know, there you go. So yeah, you know, that's, you know, it's always going to coincide. Again, you want to research this stuff, but then there's an aspect of knowing,
Right. That's right. Thank you so much for that information and that insight. That does click. That's a good one. Anybody have any more questions?
So, Donna, she also asked, she said, would you say that a lot of us that had past lives in Atlantis might be an ascended master? Again, you know, some of these terms I have a problem with because, you know, just the term ascended master, that can be just, it can have a lot of descriptions. So
it could be what I call broad spectrum.
Yeah, so it's just like, you know, these different, that's my only gripe with a lot of the new age spirituality, because when you really, to be honest with you, most, if any, kids can be indigo children, can be star seeds. most of all, just depending on how you interpret it. So, we really we kind of project onto these things. If you feel that you are something, you probably are. You know what I'm saying? And I would say, yeah, because Atlantis in Lemuria, which was also called some cultures called it Mu or More or something like that. These are civilizations from a long time ago. These aren't even physical civilizations. That's why you can't find this stuff. Go look at the movie Atlantis. They try to make you believe like, oh, it's something under the sea. No, a lot of this stuff don't exist anymore because it was in a whole different dimension, a whole different realm. So if you are that old and you came and you still here, then you're probably here to teach somebody. Because guess what? You could have left a long time ago, to be honest with you. True. So, yeah,
That's a good question. What is an ascended master? That's a question I want you to answer.
What is an ascended master?
Yep.
Okay, I mean, an ascended master to me is, if you look at the word ascended, so, I would denote that to have some sort of ancient origin, or, to come from, a higher realm, and just a master. Like I said, the reason why I bang on some of these terms is we are all supposed to be becoming masters. Every last person here, you're supposed to be a master. You're supposed to be your own master. So, can you be one? You either are one at this point or you're going to be one. If you into this knowledge, at some point you're going to be master. You're supposed to be the master. You're supposed to be the Christ. You're supposed to have Christ consciousness. Yeah. You're supposed to be one with Christ. You're supposed to be one with God. So at some point, hopefully, everybody gets to a point where they're a master. If not, you can do this mug right over again. You can do this mug right over again if you're not. But again, I'm talking to masters. I'm willing to bet the only people in this room right now, or that can actually watch this, are masters, are people who are becoming masters. Because if not, you don't care. If not, you don't care. If a spiritual teacher once told me a long time ago that for you to ask the question, for you to even ask the question, means that you are probably the answer. For you to even ask, because how else would you even know to ask the question? Again, we got people walking around here all day, don't give two F's about anything we talking about. Like, what is this spiritual mumbo jumbo? I'm late for work at McDonald's, anarchist. You tripping. And then again, I would say for a fact that person is not an ascended master. You feel me? That person ain't nowhere near an ascended master. That person is an ascended McDonald's employee. That's what that person is. So, it just is what it is. Like, if you wouldn't be here unless you was either that or on that path, you would not have even asked the question. So that's an ascended master. You can say, oh, is a person that's supposed to come here and teach spirituality? No, that could be a person that's supposed to come here and teach third grade. Yeah. And give your kids something that they needed to be what they need to be. So, they come in all forms. It's not just, don't just think of it as just somebody who just talks what the anarchist talks about or talks with this person. And it's really a master is just a teacher. We call people master teachers. And a master really is just you mastering something. So that's what we are supposed to come here and do, a master something, and then leave. Get that knowledge, get that spirituality, then leave.
That's right.
Then leave.
Exactly. I am so thrilled to just have had this conversation. Anarchist, I'm about to do a past life regression tour where I am just doing past life regressions like for a whole weekend. And I just really wanted to get people acclimated with how important it is to know where you came from in order for you to know where you're going. And even on this tour, I'm doing quantum healing, where we can actually do the healing on the table of some of these fragmented parts of yourselves, and even something that's going on currently in this current life. I've seen people heal from cancer to polycystic, PCOS, just a variety of different elements and diseases, and they healed on my table. And I didn't heal them, they healed themselves through the quantum healing. And so I really think that for those that are forewarned, they're forearmed. You have power, you have knowledge. And when you move with that, when you ascend, that is what ascended master is. Jesus is an ascended master. That's an example of an ascended master. He ascended. But remember, like the anarchist is telling you, He had many incarnations before he became Jesus the Christ. He was Buddha, he was Krishna, he was Haru. Okay, so he moved in and out of all of these incarnations. And finally, when he came into his last incarnation, he became the Christ and he ascended. And that's what made him an ascended master. But remember, all of the in Confucius as well, all of the ones that I've mentioned, they were ascended masters too of his incarnation. So he was just ascending and just kept on volunteering to keep coming back, in different cultures around the world. Because remember, everyone has their own perspective of Jesus Christ, or what they consider as their Haru or their Krishna. And he just kept on spreading knowledge all over until the point where he felt like he was complete, and there's no sense of him coming back. And everyone is looking for the physical Jesus to appear. No, when Jesus said he's coming back, he said he was coming back through you. That's why he said to his disciples that you will do works that are greater than this. Okay, we are his disciples. And when we tap into our divinity, we tap into that Christ consciousness and let our light shine, that is us allowing for the cosmic Christ to come back. And a good book to read on that one is the one by Deepak Chopra, where he talks about the cosmic Christ. That's who you're looking for. And this whole COVID thing is basically the elite suppressing the fact that we are truly in Armageddon. This is the end, and we are entering into the Aquarian age, which is the 1,000-year reign. That's a different subject, but it's going to take about 1,000 years. I hate to shatter some people's belief system. It's going to take about 1,000 years to get rid of the new world order, which is now here, which is the new world. It's going to take about 1,000 years to get rid of this elite and this bad system of things until we come into that one consciousness globally. People want to hear that it's going to be in our lifetime. It's not. And it don't bother me. I don't care, because I'm not attached to this earth. But I do know that I'm not coming back. And it doesn't matter what's happening on the earth once I leave here. And so what we need to do is make sure that we're getting ourselves ready and we're living in 5D and not concerning ourselves what's happening in the 3D, because that's the distraction. Okay. You're supposed to be preparing yourself for moving into the 5D, which is where the energy of the earth is. And I really believe those that are dying from COVID are really those that cannot make the cut. That's my personal belief. And they're covering it up because it's happening on a grand scale. And they want to scare you and make you think that it's some type of physical thing when it's not. It's all a spiritual phenomenon.
Yep. So let me see. I see Siamese Goddess. I like that name in the room. Ask, and if anybody else have questions, better ask now. Forever hold your peace, or hold your peace to the next live. We do.
Okay.
But Siamese Goddess says, why do people get illnesses? Is it due to past life karma? There's a lot of reasons why people get illnesses. And the best reason I can tell you right now is because, again, what we're talking about, you on earth, gonna suffer. So you're either gonna come here and you're gonna get a physical illness, gonna get a mental illness, or you're gonna something. Now again, just to kind of keep to your question, it could have a lot to do with what you could call a past life karma, something that you did go through and that you kind of have to experience again. For instance, I want to say that this might have been an Edgar Cayce book I was reading or something else, but it was an interesting story about how a person was in the past life and, you know, they were doing, I can't even remember the whole thing, but it's like they were doing something where they were working on, let's say they were a person like working on people's backs or something like that. And they came and then they reincarnated again, and they reincarnated as a person with back problems. You know, so these are really just anecdotes to help people understand something that they were actually trying to understand. So you, in one life, you could be a person that's helping people with something, and in one life, you be a person that's afflicted by that exact same thing. On a spiritual level, you're supposed to get something that maybe you don't understand here in the reality. So where that person may be in this reality, like, why God, why am I inflicted with this pain? When I would say that person should just be trying to understand more spiritually, what's going on here? What am I really trying to learn? You know, and if you go into things about your past life, you can understand, okay, I was a person that helped people with backs. Now I have a back issue, you know, and then you kind of see what the symbolism of the back, you know, and then remember, if we just going into spirituality, the spine, we talk about enlightenment. A lot of people get enlightened through meditation. I remember when I was first getting into meditation and this knowledge and stuff like that, and I would meditate a lot. I had my first Kundalini experience. That was the most painful experience I've ever had in my life. I thought I was going to die, and I didn't even know what it was at the time. I was living at home with my parents, and I wasn't even meditating at that point. I just at some point my body just felt like it was moving. I started getting hot, and I literally thought I was about to die, and I couldn't tell nobody nothing because I didn't know what was wrong with me. And only afterwards I researched the fact that I was having a Kundalini experience. And what I researched was Kundalini is the life force energy that sits at the base of your spine. And when you meditate enough, you drink enough water, you alkaline enough, and you have a good system, what happens is you get to a point where that Kundalini energy travels up through the spine, travels up through the back, the spine. And you can see this in spirituality as the snake going up the little thing. The medical industry have that as the snake in the caduceus, where they do this and reach at the top. Look at the little medical stuff. You know what I'm saying? They know all this stuff. So again, that's the Kundalini energy reaching the top of the spine, hitting the pineal gland, which now my pineal gland is fully open. I look at people and I read them, and I know their energy. I know if you're bad, you're good. I'm like Santa Claus. But again, that was my first experience with it. And I was just, like I said, that blew me away. But I just mentioned that to say that what could be happening if this person did research that was inflicted with this back pain. They realized, okay, that I did a past life reading or a Akashic record reading. I was a person who worked on backs or whatever. Maybe you have an issue with Kundalini. Maybe you're supposed to study more about your back and your spine and your Kundalini experience. Maybe that. Again, these are whatever you're going through in reality, in life, there is a spiritual component too. So besides looking at it as a bad thing, like, oh, I got an illness because I'm bad, or God is trying to punish me, or this is my karma, don't look at it like that. Look at it like, what am I supposed to be learning? Why did I come here like that? Why did I come here as a black man, a white man, a male, a female? Because you could choose all these things, but you chose that for a reason. That wasn't given to you, this illness. You gave it to yourself. And before I end, one thing I want to say is, again, to use the movie analogy. Who here wants to watch a movie with no conflict? You know what I'm saying? We watch all day. We love scary movies, movies where people die, movies where people are disabled and they overcome things, because your spirit is the watcher of the movie. So you may have created a movie where you were the disabled person, or you were inflicted by a pain, not because you were a bad, evil person and you wanted to see yourself suffer, but you knew that you could learn with this issue. You came to a place that was nothing but pain and issues. So you made the best of it. You're like, how can I learn from that spiritually? So again, if you realize that once I transcend, I won't have any of those problems, that will help you to kind of get out of the grief of, oh, I don't want this, I just want to be perfect. Nothing is perfect here. All right, we all have issues. Be it, like I said, some of us come here with mental issues, which I had. I suffered from depression a long time. That's why I got into spirituality. So you can always turn a supposed negative thing into a positive thing. That's what we're supposed to be doing here. So that's why you have illnesses. You have illnesses because you gave it to yourself.
Yes.
You're trying to figure out something about yourself. And I can't tell you that. Only you can tell yourself that. So got some more questions. Cleopatra Soul. Oh, was that? I don't think that was a question, but they said we have to rise above low vibrational energies, anger, hate, resentment, guilt, shame, fear, self-limiting belief, all that. Yep. So I don't think we have any more questions here. Any questions for me right here, Dr. Tyann?
No, I think we nailed it.
All right.
Thank you so much. I'm just like flabbergasted. I didn't even know it was going to be as good as it was. This was some good content, seriously. I just, wow. I'm speechless. And I think that everyone else here has enjoyed it just as much as me. I ask that those that are here, please smash that like button for me. Share this video, share this live, get this message out. They call people like me and the anarchist conspiracy theorists, and that was actually coined by the CIA to keep knowledge suppressed. Okay. and to keep you guys under the thumb, so to speak. So you will not wonder or guess, or you'll just look at it and dismiss it. But no, this is real. Past lives, current lives, it's all in the same. We're all living simultaneously at the same time. We're experiencing our past lives all in one. And the reason why I say that is because how can you call incarnation just a current life when you're here because you didn't clear out things in your past? It's all the same. And I hear people sometimes say about, oh, don't worry about your past life. You don't need to worry about that. You've already lived that life. And, the most important life is the here and the now. That is true to a certain aspect. But remember, the reason why your ass is here is because of something that you did not do in your past life. So your past life is your key to unlocking what that is, or else you're just going to be on that loop-de-loop, that comic loop again. That is the reason why people explore past lives. Um, I'm going to leave one thing, and then I'm going to be done. The whole purpose of a shaman and why our great grandparents were shamans and they went to shamans is because they took them on their life's journey, past, present, and future. You cannot reinvent the wheel. Like if you're wanting to ascend, there's already, like the anarchist said, there's already methods and systems that work, like the Eastern philosophy, it works. And the reason why we over here in the West, we suffer from mental illness is because we only want to feed the body, not the mind and the soul. And Eastern philosophy does both, or all three. The mind and the body and the soul. Get into yoga. That's the reason why people do mantras. I never knew the power of mantras until I started doing it and realized that the English the English language is Hebrews backwards, which is a low vibrational language. So when you tap into these higher frequencies and you're doing your mantras, that is connecting you with the universe. That is putting you back in resonance with source. That is putting you back into that resonance of manifestation, because that is what it's all about, is for you to manifest while you're here in the physical. It's not to amass wealth, but it's for you to manifest your reality, whether it be good or bad. And for those that are on a higher vibrational frequency, we have to be even more careful because we're manifesting even at a more super accelerated speed. And so that's the reason why people be like, oh, well, you can't be positive all the time because, people that are in higher consciousness think more positively. Um, because you have no choice. If you think negatively, that's going to be your experience. So we are very careful of minding our words and minding our moods and trying to make sure that we're staying in our highest vibrations, which we can't be in our highest vibrations all the time, you people. We are moving in and out of states of consciousness. And sometimes it's okay to be in a low vibration, but just don't stay there. And that's all I have to say. I'm done.
Yep.
All right.
The last thing I'll leave you guys with, man, I appreciate every single last one of you, gods and beings and spiritual beings here, man. Like I said, everything happens for a reason. You're making your movie. You here. You just like I said, follow the script. Stick to the plan. You feel me? So, and the last thing I want to say is just, we all here doing the work. Do the work. The work starts with knowledge, and it pretty much also it ends with you understanding yourself. Know thyself. So get into meditation, get into, like Dr. Tyen said, feed the body, the spirit, mind. Veganism is a good thing. Like she said, it's not for everybody, but it is very good. You want to have the body right for, what you're trying to feed with your mind. Because again, they hitting you with poisons all day, every day. The air sometimes is poison. The water is a lot poison. That's why I tell people get into clean, unfluoridated water, because they put fluoride in the water, because what does fluoride do? It calcifies the pineal gland. One of the reasons a lot of people, you look up spontaneous combustion. A lot of those people have calcified pineal glands. So if they ever, you will notice people who spontaneous combust, which is people just set on fire out of nowhere. That's a real thing. They usually, it happens to them in such a relaxed state, which is a meditative state. So they end up meditating. They shoot their Kundalini up through a calcified pineal gland, so it goes back down. And that's the Kundalini energy is a fire. Is a fire energy. So again, it's gonna burn you. And that's why it's lowest in the root chakra, which is actually where the concept of hell comes from. So the root chakra is red, the Kundalini down there is a fire. So again, you got to understand this stuff. You got to do the work, get into the research, study the Nag Hammadi library, study Gnosticism, study Hermeticism, study the 7 principles of the universe, study all this stuff, man. Again, this stuff is going to help you consciously understand what you subconsciously already know. And then when you get to that point where you transcend, you be like, all right, I'm done with that. I did everything I was supposed to do. Now I can go on to the next life, which I have no idea humanly what it's going to be. I just know it's going to be so much better than this. So much better. It's gonna be better than the best movie, the best sex you ever had in your life. It's gonna be better than all of that. You feel me? It's gonna be better than everything. All right, we're all gonna get there, and I see y'all on the other side. You feel me?
Nargis, before you go, please let people know how they can get a hold of you.
Man, please go check out my 6th YouTube channel because the last couple ones were deleted. You guys can find me if you search The Anarchist. I'm there. You may not find me, may or may not find me. But search The Anarchist in YouTube. You might find me. It's usually my face or my symbol, which is the anarchy symbol, which is a purple anarchy symbol. So you can subscribe to my YouTube channels, which one is called The Anarchist, one is called The Anarchist Truth, and one is called Truth Seeker. You can also follow me on Facebook. If you type in The Anarchist, I'm on there. They suppress me on there heavy, but I will actually go live on there later on my Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram. So that's probably the best place because Instagram has not deleted my page yet like Facebook and YouTube have. So I'm on Instagram at Anarchist Beats with a Z. So Anarchist Beats on Instagram, and there I will go live periodically to let you guys know how you can sign up to the email list and things like that. So you can find me a bunch of different places. I've been so suppressed that I've learned to just get on every single platform. So anywhere, if you want any type of platform, Rumble, BitChute, MeWe, I'm on everything. Just search Anarchist or The Anarchist, and you'll usually find me.
And also too, I watched. I think it was your latest video. No, your second to the one that you last post. You know what I'm talking about? The one that you were talking about, the New World Order. You have a website too, right? Can they also?
Oh yeah. Oh, exactly. Oh, you guys can follow me, or you can go to the website. It's because I had to get my own website. I'm like, man, Google and Facebook is playing games. So I started my own website, which is theanarchist.com. Remember, my name Anarchist is spelled with the K, Anarkist. So go someplace, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or just type into the search engine theanarchist.com, and I come up. That's where you'll see a lot of my videos and stuff with me. And like I said, I teach a lot of different things for people who are just mostly in this reality. I talk about how just stuff that they need to be wary of. But again, I do get into this knowledge information. I talk about truth and I talk about knowledge. Because again, that's what I'm here to do. And once I'm done with that, I'm never looking back. So if you're not getting it, then you're going to come back and you're not going to see me here. Definitely not going to see me here. Thank you, Dr. Tyan. Right? You see in the room, Anarchist. So you guys just put that anywhere. Follow me everywhere.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on my channel and blessing my channel once again, with your knowledge, the information. Your time is valued, and we appreciate you. And I look forward to working with you again. I really love our collaboration.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And Marcus is going to go ahead and sign off. He has something that he has to do. So namaste.
Peace.
Peace.